Guys, welcome back. I'm very lucky to have with us today Rafi Cohen, National Director of BAUK. He's got 5 minutes. I'm going to ask a handful of quick-fire questions, and we're going to come and try and keep the answer to 1 minute each, with maybe a quick interjection from me. Let's jump straight into it. Rafi, thank you for joining me in the studio on this very busy day. I want to ask you about leadership, and that's kind of how we met. Throwback to when we were leading groups together. What do you think is the most important skill for a leader to have of any group?
I think an understanding of people, and I think that it doesn't matter if you are, a young leader taking care of primary school or secondary school children, or someone that's actually got slightly more oversight of a large group, and that you're actually investing in the young leaders themselves. You have to understand the people. You have to know where they're at. You've got to have an understanding of the the background, the ideas that you want to get across. But it's all about you can be a phenomenal genius in a certain niche area, but if you don't understand the people and where they are and where they're holding, then you're not going to be able to give any of that over to them, and it's just it will be lost. So it all relies on understanding them.
A large part of being a leader and being a director as yourself is about giving feedback to your staff, to your volunteers, and to many people. How do you best approach that so people will be able to take on the feedback without necessarily getting defensive?
So again, it comes down to knowing what's going to be right for a certain person. There are some people who would love, a written form and really like broken down step-by-step approach to whatever you've been reviewing them on. And for other people, that just kind of looks as an attack, and they kind of immediately close up and don't take it on board. And so you take them out for a coffee, you have a schmooze that's a little bit more chilled and laid back. And again, it comes down to understanding them, understanding what makes them tick, and trying to figure out the best way to get that through to them.
Okay, thank you very much. Last question, if I may. In terms of building up excitement in your audience for an event and getting people to come in and to sign up and to commit to something, it's obviously very difficult. And with the movement, you've probably faced a lot of challenges in this area. What has been successful? What has been unsuccessful? Anything you can share with us?
So unsuccessful for us is when we launch an event and we put up a Facebook event and no one clicks attending, no one clicks going, and it just looks like it's going to be empty from the start, because whether it's who's on Facebook nowadays and that kind of thing, or just people don't want to make that kind of commitment, or they don't feel that it's specifically targeted to them. And all of these things add up to, again, a personal approach. If you message someone, you call someone, and not on a broadcast, not on like a very impersonal thing, but actually you take the time out. And I think in my world, I guess I'm not a businessman. I don't view my movement as a business. It's about the people and about the individuals, and you've got to invest in them. You've got to spend time with them because you care about them as a person, not because you want to get XYZ out of them. So you take the time and you check in and you make sure that everyone's doing okay. And then when you send them a message about an event that's coming up, that's pitched to them and that you want them to go to and that they want to go to, they feel part of it. It doesn't feel artificial. It actually feels like part of a series of conversation that you've been having anyway. So for me, it's all about that personal approach.
Can we get one more bonus question on, or do you really have to run?
One more.
One more bonus question. Dealing, in your case, so you run a youth movement, dealing with parents and worries and stresses and objections when they have concerns. It's the same, and I think in many ways, to customer service and dealing with sales objections and dealing with complaints from clients. So what have you learned in your time?
That more often than not, you just have to say what someone wants to hear. And that they may have a certain angle or understanding, and that it's worthwhile listening to their feedback and input, but that to trust myself to know that I've actually got the sort of professional understanding of what I do and what works, and that I've seen that from experience, and that I'm kind of standing on the shoulders of people who have been working in that industry for many, many years, and that some things don't need giant revolutions, but sometimes you need to say what someone wants to hear, just so that they're mollified, they stay involved, they stay supportive, but at the same time not changing up the model every single time just because someone wasn't so happy with something.
Rafi, thank you so much for taking the time out. I really appreciate it, and at some point I want to get you down here for a full extended episode. Guys, hasn't Rafi been amazing? Don't forget to leave your comments down below if you are on social media. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, you can send me an email, dw@drorwayne.com, or you can follow me on Instagram @dror.w, and I would love to hear all your thoughts and comments, and perhaps if we get enough support, we will get Rafi back in soon. Have a good day.